Excellent. Right, so hello everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. And this is a great opportunity for me to be able to meet new people. And thank you very much for Wendy for promoting this through Bradford Council and the Children's Trust, as well as many of the other organisations that we work with. So this came out of a collaboration I had with Jenny many years ago now, and we've been doing these for quite some time. I do both this and the Money SOS course. During the time, I'll put the Money SOS course into the chat so people can see what that's coming up, because I do that now with the BRI and the next one there. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to Jenny. Jenny can introduce herself and let us know a bit about pensions, and thank you.
Okay, good morning everybody, and just waiting for my slides to appear on screen. I think that's happened now. So just quickly a little bit of an introduction about who I am and where I sort of work. I am the regional manager for the Money and Pension Service, which is an arm's length body of the Department for Work and Pensions. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit this morning about pensions, because it's very rare that you get the opportunity to hear anything about pensions. So, and the more people that I sort of meet as I'm out and about, the more questions I get asked about pensions. So I'm going to go through some slides this morning. I will cover quite a lot of ground. It'll be a bit of a whistle-stop tour. However, I know this recording will be shared, and Ian will also be able to share my slides as well. So all the stuff that I'm going to talk about that you can access for both yourself, your friends, family, anybody that you're working with, so customers, patients, etc. Please feel free to signpost anybody to our stuff, because it's free, it's impartial guidance, and it's from a safe and trusted source. And that's really important that you're aware of that. We don't ask anybody any questions about their personal circumstances when you talk to us. We're just here to give you that free, impartial guidance. So that is really important, especially at the moment when there's a lot of scams about and a lot of people that unfortunately can't be trusted. So at Money Helper, although I'm going to talk about pensions, we cover absolutely anything and everything to do with money, all the way through from pocket money right up to pensions, wills, end of life, etc. So it's the full gamut of stuff that we can help you with. But as I say, today we're going to talk about your pension journey, and it's really never too early or too late to start thinking about your pension. As we're in work, we should have all got a pension, a workplace pension scheme, and hopefully the majority of you will be in your pension scheme. So one of the things that I really like to upset people with as I start these sessions off is how much money are we likely to need when we retire? And you know, I always sort of tell people to think about how much they're spending now and what's going to change when they stop working, if anything. But there is an organisation called Retirement Living Standards who produce the sort of optimum amount of money that people will need to live on in retirement. So just wanted to share this slide with you, and this has just been altered at the beginning of this year. So the minimum that this organisation, through research, thinks that a single person needs to live on in retirement is £14,400. So just remember that figure as we're working through this session. Obviously, if you want a more comfortable lifestyle and to enable you to go on holidays, change your car every sort of 5 to 10 years, then you will need more income in retirement than that. But we're sort of focusing on that 14,400 for this session. And as I said, how do we know how much we're personally going to need to live on in retirement? So we've got a really good budget planner that you can use now. to look at where you're spending your money. It's a really good tool. It takes probably about 10-15 minutes to go through. You put everything that you're receiving as income into it, and then you put all the things that you spend either on a weekly, monthly, or annual basis. So it sort of prompts you for things like MOT, house insurance, etc. So you put in all of the things in there, and then it produces a pie chart, shows you where all your money's going each year, and you can start to think about making changes if you're in a position to do that. Oh, sorry, just my mouse went a bit funny then. But then moving on to what you're going to need in retirement, we've also got a budgeting retirement worksheet, again, which prompts you things that might change. You might not need to perhaps run 2 cars if you're a 2-car family, things like that. So again, you can use the original figure from your budget planner, then start factoring it into this. So we're all remembering that figure of 14,400, aren't we? And this is where it's important to know that most of us will receive some form of state pension. Now, we're not going to get that until we're sort of 67, 68, depending on how old we are. Possibly if you're really young, it will take even longer for you to get that. But the figure from April that we're going to get in our state pension, if you qualify for a full state pension, is 11,500. So we've got a little bit of a gap, sort of £3,000 gap between that 14,400 and our state pension. So that's going to be made up from any workplace pensions that we might have got. We also might have got some savings that we want to help in our retirement as well. But we really need to think about sort of building that retirement pot of money so that we can have a comfortable standard of living when we do come to retirement. Something else that people don't necessarily know about is you actually have to physically apply for your state pension. It doesn't automatically come at that date when you're 67, 68, whatever like that. And you have to have 35 qualifying years of national insurance payments to receive the full state pension. If you've got 10 years worth or more, you will receive some state pension, but to get the maximum amount, which is that 11.5, then you will need to have done 35 years, and you can check that. And I'm going to show you how to do it. Well, tell you where to do that later on in the presentation. I'm just going to whip through that one because we don't need to know about that. So what types of pensions are there? So there are 2 main types of pensions. One is a defined benefit, or what we call a final salary pension scheme. That's mainly public sector people will receive that. You're obviously working in the public sector, but also you might have collected other pensions throughout your working life. You may move again and collect another pension. I have now got a total of 9 pensions, which is getting a little bit out of hand, to be quite frank, and I'm hoping I'm not going to collect any more. But the final salary pension that you're in, you know exactly what you're going to get when you come to retirement. You will have a really detailed account of the figures that you are going to achieve. Whereas the other type of pension, which is called a defined contribution pension, so that's most of the workplace pensions that are auto enrolment. You might have heard of Nest, things like that. That is very different to what you guys are working with at the moment, and that sort of goes up and down with the stock market. You don't know what that fund is going to be worth when you come to retire. You just know how much you're paying in each month. So it's a little bit more tricky to plan with that. But again, it's really important to understand the options that you've got available when you do come to access that pension, and how you can potentially pay more into it as well. And throughout the last few years, it's been extremely challenging with finances. We've had the pandemic, we've got cost of living rises. There's a lot of strain on our own personal finances. And some people have sort of thought, well, do I really need to be paying into my pension at this point? Is that something that should be high on my list of priorities? And I just want to give you a little bit of an example of the impact of paying into a pension and what that can do for you. So some people say, well, I'll just put it in a savings account, it's absolutely fine. So just working through this example here, somebody's got a gross income of £2,000 per month, and they've decided that they're going to save £80 a month. So they put that in a bank account. All they're going to get each month is £80 into that bank account and possibly a little bit of interest depending on where they're putting that money. If, however, they have a workplace pension, that £80 going into the pension is then ensuring that you're getting tax relief from the government on that contribution. So you get an additional £20 in tax relief, and your employer will also pay £60. This is a defined contribution pension, but you're actually then getting £160 into your pension versus £80 into your savings account. So you're doubling your money. So it is something important to think about when we are considering whether to come out of our pensions or not. Again, these slides will be shared. I'm conscious that I'm going through them quite quickly. So why is it important to look after your pension and understand more about your pension? When I'm out and about, I just get so many questions around this, and just wanted to share the opportunity to go through this information. But at Money Helper, we have a free telephone guidance service for pensions. Whilst we cover all those other subjects like debt and benefits, things like that, we've got dedicated experts in pensions, and you can just ring us up, ask us a question, any random question you like. So it may well be that you get your pension statement through, you open the envelope, you look at it, you put it back in the envelope and you shove it in a drawer and think, I don't need to deal with that yet. And I'm very guilty of that myself. If you've got any questions about that statement, you can go online, look at things on our website, or you can give us a quick call around that. But the important things to know about your pension are your workplace pension can generally be accessed before the state pension. So you might want to think about phasing your retirement. You're going to get that tax relief on money that you pay into your pension. So you're getting free money basically from the government. And you can take out up to 25% of your pension pot as a tax-free lump sum as well. So that might enable you to do sort of your dream in retirement, if you like. And also, if you die, your pension doesn't die with you. It gets passed on to your beneficiaries. So one thing that's really important, if you've not already done it around your pension, is to complete a nomination of beneficiaries form. So that you fill that in, and you say who you want your pension to be left to should you die, and that will ensure that those pension benefits gets passed on. The different sort of ways of dealing with that for the defined benefit and the defined contribution, but it is important to fill that form in. In the olden days, state pension, if you were married, predominantly women were relying on their husbands for the state pension and any entitlement to state pension. That's totally changed now. So we all have our own state pension account. So if your partner died, you wouldn't get access to that state pension anymore. So again, something that's important to know about. As I say, I've got 9 pensions so far, and we might have all got pensions that we've forgotten about, or we've worked somewhere for a few years a long time ago and we've got no paperwork left. So we can now trace old pensions, and we go on the gov.uk website, put in find pension contact details, so you can find the schemes that you might have been in. You can also put the dates when you were working and the organisation that you were working for, and using your national insurance number will be able to find those old pensions. So you might have got stuff that you've totally forgotten about, and that could make a big change to your budgeting in retirement as well. So again, you can use our website to help you find out more about that. really important message for me, as a woman, as a woman of a certain age, I really think it's important for us to engage with our pensions. These are the things that are going to provide for us in the future. There is, because there's a gender pay gap, the gender pension gap is even bigger. And again, important to understand what you've got and when it's when you're entitled to it. A lot of women work part-time, or we have career breaks, so there's not as much money going into our pensions. And also, some of us who are going through perimenopause and menopause symptoms start to make changes around our jobs because we lose confidence. We don't feel able to go for promotions. We might need to take time off or drop some hours. And again, that all impacts on our pensions as well. So if there's anybody from HR on the call today, if you'd like to talk to me about this, I can do specific webinars around this subject as well, and everything else that I've been talking about. But just really wanted to raise awareness on that, around that, for the women on the call, but also for the men who have got women in their lives that this could also impact. And then anybody that's between the age of 45 and 65 can go onto the Money Helper website and do our midlife MOT. Sort of takes sort of 5 to 10 minutes to go through there, and it gives you some good things to think about, not just around pensions, but everything to do with your money. Once you've completed that midlife MOT, there's a snapshot of where you are. It gives you action plans for what to do next to help you get to that next stage, or make any plans that you've got. So again, really good use of time, investing in yourself to sort of put you on the right financial track. So again, have a quick look at that, really good to do. And then really important, because we're talking about pensions, there are so many scams around pensions, and I want to sort of just point out a few of those. If you're contacted out of the blue about your pension, that's illegal. Nobody can ring you up about your pension if they haven't already sent you a letter, or it's your existing pension provider. So please be very wary of that. And also anybody that's trying to make you make very quick decisions about how you take your pension, just be mindful, take a step back, take a breath, have a little think about, did you even want to engage in this conversation? Because invariably, if it sounds too good to be true, it is, and people are losing millions of pounds across the country to pension scammers. So please be really careful about that. So what you can do now, look at if you've got any lost pensions, have a little bit of a think about your state pension, find out how many years you've got, nominate those beneficiaries to make sure that should you die, your pension passes on to the right people. You can use our calculators to help you work out how much money your existing pension is going to provide. Use the budget planners and do the midlife MOT. But then also, if you've got any questions at all about any of the things that I've been talking about, have a call with us. Free to do. You don't have to tell us any details. We're there, we're a trusted source of information, and you can absolutely ask us any random question about pensions, because not many people know very much about pensions, and we are here to help. I have gone on a bit long, but I think there's a lot of information to share there with you. So thanks for listening. I've seen a few bits in the chat, so I will respond to those as the next speakers are going through. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jenny, as always. This came out of a conversation many, many years ago about how people misunderstand pensions. And because we work with 34 payroll partners, it's really important to get that information out there. And I'm really grateful to Jenny for coming on, as always, to do that. Right, so in the chat, I'm just putting in some information, which I'll do in a second. But in the meantime, I'm going to share this my screen. So okay, excellent. Slideshow from the beginning. Brilliant. So thank you very much for that. So I'm going to go through my presentation. I'm going to rattle through this. It's it gives you an understanding of the credit union and meeting the team. So my name's Ian Brewer. My background is actually international community development, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, South Africa, for many years before running community centres here in Bradford, and then 7 years at HSBC Bank, before I got this job in 2016. So I've got a very wide understanding of community development, which is why you'll find our credit union is very different to others. Siobhan is also working with us on the call today, but she works with us to do the work with the payroll partners. And Fizza is also on the call today, and she's going to be doing a presentation for Mind in Bradford. So the history of our credit union: back in 1993, interest rates hit a massive 15%. We're struggling at 6%, if you can imagine what it's like at 15%. And staff at Bradford Council couldn't get loans from their banks due to the credit crunch. They spoke to Bradford Council. Bradford Council decided to set up a credit union to help staff save into a pot, and then people can borrow out of that same pot. 2005 in communities was set up, so the housing stock and staff too paid across. They also wanted the credit union. We became a district-wide credit union at that point. Two things happened in 2016 which were a game changer. The first one was that we were one of the first to introduce online banking, so you could check your balance online and move your money to your own current account on the same day. And we now have a smartphone app that does that. And the second thing was that the council decided to fund a financial inclusion development officer, as that was my role back at the time. I joined in 2016. The council wanted to grow their credit union and also advise people about things like the payday lenders, Wonga, and all those companies that were setting up at the time. 2019, the government came to us and said, would you extend to Kirklees and Craven because they don't have a credit union? And we said that we would. So we cover the corridor from Huddersfield right up to Skipton. What's interesting is the membership growth. So up until 2016, we had 3,000 members. We've just reached our 10,000th member. We've added 7,000 members in as many years, which for a credit union is really, really fast growth. We have over 3,000 people that are financially excluded. People couldn't get a bank account anywhere else. People couldn't get low-cost lending anywhere else. And we are faith friendly. So because we don't pay interest on our savings, we pay a dividend. That's the profit of the company divided amongst the people if we make a profit. That is considered to be halal for savings. So people from an Islamic background can save ethically with us. I wonder how much you think that 10,000 people in an area of deprivation like Bradford would save together. Invariably, when I ask this question, people guess anywhere between 100,000 and £1 million for 10,000 members. Well, I'm really glad you're sitting down today because we look after a staggering £7.2 million for 10,000 people, something we're extremely proud of and recognised for doing so. We couldn't do what we do without the workforce development. So Elaine and Wendy on the call today from Bradford Council, really important that you guys are working with us, and we thank you for that. So 1 in 4 staff have major money worries. 1 in 8 live in poverty unknown to employers. 82% of workers have turned to high-cost credit. An alarming rise of loan sharks. As the cost of living bites, the mortgages get more expensive, people miss payments, their credit score goes down, it becomes a vicious circle, they can't get loans from their banks. So the low credit score is a barrier to affordable loans. Here at Bradford District Credit Union, we have our financial wellbeing programme. We have over 4,000 staff that save and borrow at 34 companies. Staff save an incredible 4.9 million for nearly £5 million and borrow £2 million. And these loans build credit scores alongside savings. Spattering of some of the companies that we work with. And we have things like the Christmas Savers, which is a locked account allowing people to save for Christmas before it opens up in November, stops people going to loan sharks and having to borrow for Christmas, as well as our Junior Savers. And we even launched the £500 family loan for people who couldn't get credit because the credit score is too low. people can pay their child benefit into the credit union, take a loan against that. And that's very, very popular, helping a lot of people out of poverty. We offer loans of £200 up to £15,000 and savings protected to £85,000. Our partners, we've just heard from Jenny at Mountain Pension Services. We're very grateful for the collaboration we have with them. Mind in Bradford, we can hear about shortly. We're actually working with them to put the first bid of its kind in the UK to have mental health trained professionals working with the credit union, offering our training programs, our Money SOS course, and helping people through a mental health program that come out that we identify through the credit union and in the community. And we're looking to hopefully get that started this year if we get the funding for that. And our partners with the Stop Loan Shark team, who help us to raise the awareness of loan sharks, which is very real, and I'll come on to that shortly. What gets me out of the bed in the morning is my projects, and something I'm extremely proud of and sets us apart from many other credit unions. Our first one is our Money SOS course. I will be putting in the chat, and the next one is on the 2nd of May. We're now working with the BRI, so I'm running training courses out of the BRI. Anybody's able to come along to that. We look at APR, payday lenders, high-cost lenders, dangers of loan sharks, how contactless works, overdraft, direct debits, improving your credit score, and what the credit union offers. And we're doing this with Bradford Council as well, and many of other payroll partners. Some of the training courses that we've got coming up, as I say, about the one on the 2nd of May at the BRI. One of the things we've been able to do is work with the Americans. 1 in 4 people is a credit union member in America. It's huge over there. We've been able to learn a lot from that, but they've been able to learn from us, because the impact that we have in Bradford for very small amounts of money has come to the attention internationally. And I was sponsored to go to Madison to the World Council of Credit Unions 18 months ago to talk to them about what we're doing in Bradford, because we see much higher impact for smaller amounts of money. And that's a spattering of the photos of things that we've done. Then coming on to our flagship projects, Food Savers. Food Savers is a co-designed project that was funded by Bradford Council initially, that helps people to go to a food, instead of a food bank where people are given free food, but food that's given to them that they may not want. Food Savers offers dignity and choice. So this was an idea to set up community pantries in the community where people could go fill up a bag of shopping of food that they like. It's like a corner shop experience where they could choose the food they want and just pay £6 for it. And Julie Thompson, who I work with, came up with the idea of putting £1 of that into the credit union. And so 18 months later, we've got 18 pantries across Bradford, 540 savers, and those savers have saved a staggering £52,000, something extremely proud of, as well as the amount of money that we've saved them in their shopping, which is nearly £1.5 million. Great thing about this project here is that it gives people a place to save. So in addition to the £1 that they save with us, we found that people are bringing the money that's under the mattress, out of shoe boxes, they bring it down to credit union, paying that in. And that's one of the reasons why we've got so much savings there. It's a savings vehicle. It's a way to get people into a savings habit. And we're very, very proud of this flagship project. And 2 of the other projects we have are funded by the West Yorkshire Mayor, Tracy Brabin. She came to us just a couple of weeks ago on the 15th to hear from our partners about what we were doing. But she funded us £120,000 for 2 different projects. One is the microloan scheme. As we talked about, people have such a low credit score that even credit unions can't help them. They have no way of rebuilding their credit score, because you've got to borrow in order to be able to show and build your credit score. So Mayor was very interested in building a project that helped people get small loans of £200 that they pay back each month of just £20 a month. And by doing so, that helps people to build their credit score and turn their lives around with that. And we've called it various different things at the moment. At the moment, we're calling it the cost of living loan, and that will be in the chat. So if you know people that have got poor credit score, please promote this to your staff. And Uniform Savers 3, we've run this for 2 years. This is our 3rd year, and it's a way of people being able to save for their own school uniform. They save 3 times, and with that money, they're able to get £100 incentive paid in July to go and buy their own school uniforms. This is again a way of getting people into that savings habit. The benefits of credit union: start saving from start a savings habit from your wage if you're one of our payroll partners, or by standing order if you're not. Internet, smartphone banking, same-day withdrawals to your bank, access to affordable loans that help build credit scores, the Christmas savers, the junior savers, the faith-friendly aspect of it, the ethical banking that supports your community, the Money SOS workshops and webinars like this, and regular newsletters and staff offers. And finally, that's how you join the credit union. If you're not a member already, please can I encourage you to do so at www.bdc.co.uk. If you want to take a photo of this, if you are interested in doing that, pressing the join button and following that through. You need to have a passport, driving license with you, and a debit card that you pay your first £5 of deposit in to the credit union that also proves your address. And that's the end of my presentation there. I'm going to stop sharing. And also just put into the chat, that's all the information you will need to do with that. But if I can really encourage you to use the information in the chat, and also come along to our Money SOS course that we have in May. So now I'm going to hand over to Fizza, who's going to be standing in for Mind in Bradford. She's going to share her screen, and this is her debut, so I'm very proud of her. Welcome, Fizza.
Hi there, thank you, Ian. I'm hoping you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yes, give me a second. Right, so as we all know, Mine in Bradford was not able to join us today, so I'll be doing their presentation. So Mine in Bradford is a local mental health charity that is based not just in Bradford but all over England. It's in Wales also, and the nearest that we've got is Bradford, Manchester, and Leeds. It provides mental health, people that are struggling with their mental health, not just anxiety, depression, but also financial well-being advice. It is based in Bradford in BD1, if I'm not wrong. So the reason why they're able to help is they have counselors that help people with whatever advice they need. So as you can see, that 1 in 4 people experience mental health in any kind in England, and 1 in 6 people have the same common mental health issues, such as anxiety and depression. And nobody should be able to feel that. Nobody should feel that in any way. It provides different services such as food on the call or online, or they have safe spaces, and that is where Bradford District Credit Union comes in. So we have a partner with Mine in Bradford, and we are trying to get common spaces here in Bradford where people can walk in and talk to advisors, counselors, and let them know whatever issues they're facing. And this is not just for adults, but it's also for young people. So age 5 to 25 can also access to it. It's called Youth in Mind program, and it has one-on-one group support. So you can find out more about their services on their website, which I'll be showing the website link at the end of the presentation. So you can also get involved into their programs by volunteering or working for them or with them. Also fundraising. So they have a calendar on their website full of events that you can join. And they have staff, over 100 staff working for them. You can see the calling line, the website on this slide, I'm sure. And yes.
Thank you very much there, Fizza, and I really appreciate that. And if you stop sharing your screen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you. Another contact that I've recently renewed is Mandy Brown, and she's going to talk about gambling-related harm. Welcome, Mandy.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for having me. I'm just going to share some slides with you and give you a little bit of a whirlwind tour of gambling harms and what we do. Okay, so I work for an organisation called NECA, and we provide support throughout Yorkshire and Humber and the North East for anybody impacted by gambling related harms. So as we all know, gambling is very normalised. Many people gamble, whether it be buying a lottery ticket or having a bet once a year on the the Grand National. It is very normalised. So 60% of adults living in Britain participated in a gambling activity in 2022. For many people, the gambling isn't problematic, but sort of previous research has shown that there are potentially sort of 2.9 million people in the UK who are at risk of gambling related harms from their own gambling, and that there are also an additional 6 to 10 people that may be impacted by another's gambling. So as you can see, that's a very high statistic. So
sorry,
there are
Mandy,
many.
Your slide's not moving on.
Oh,
we're still on the first slide. You may be to do with your protected view.
Okay, can you see? Has it moved on?
The Yorkshire and Humber, so we're still on your first slide.
Not sure how to do.
Now you might want to do enable editing. And if you go up to slide show, which is along the top, you'll be able to, which is there. So go along to slide show.
Apologies for this.
That's all right. It looks like it's a protected view.
I see, yeah.
Brilliant. And if you go to slideshow there, so along the top banners, you've got slideshow, and you can choose. It's about six or seven across the top. You have to share it before you can press that button.
Right, so it's still not working.
So if you want to try sharing that. So just share your screen there if you can, Mandy.
Yeah, I am. Sorry, I'm trying
no problem. I know what it's like. I've been there myself. Great. Okay, that's working there. So
okay, are you on gambling related harms?
Yes. So if you go slideshow, if you go from beginning,
yes, yeah,
and then it'll go full screen. There we go. And now you can just go through these slides. There we go.
Sorry. So we'll move on to the third slide, so you can see that now, gambling related harms.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so there are many sort of gambling related harms. Obviously, the really obvious one is financial, and it has a significant impact and can sort of result in significant debt. And as listed here, it can also have significant impacts on people's relationships, on their mental health, on their work or studying, their employment. It can lead to criminal activity, and at its worst, it can contribute to loss of life through suicide, which is obviously tragic. Harms can be experienced not just by the gamblers, but by people around them. So whether that be their partner or their family members, friends, employers, communities, their social networks. So basically, jump back. We offer support to anyone age 18 and over who's experiencing gambling related harms. Our support is completely free, it's confidential, and we support people who are experiencing harms because of their own gambling or family members, partners, friends, colleagues who may be impacted by another's gambling harms and experiencing therefore gambling related harms themselves. We offer one-to-one support and group support throughout Yorkshire and Humberside in the North East and in Bradford. It's really easy to refer to us. They can refer through our website by giving us a call directly on our Harrogate number. There's a QR code on the bottom of our emails and on all of our leaflets. Professionals can also refer individuals to us with their consent. We can, if there's a sort of saying no door is the wrong door, we can refer to other appropriate services if that is required by the individual. So it could be that, for example, one of the NHS clinics could provide, gambling clinics could provide more appropriate support, or a residential rehabilitation place such as Gordon Moody. It may be that the person just wants advice, information, and we can also provide that. So what our aims are is to work with certainly the voice of lived experience, because that's invaluable, and within and together with communities. We aspire to promote the awareness of gambling related harms and how we may prevent these. There are high levels, sadly, of stigma and shame related to gambling, and this is something that we would like to eradicate, certainly to minimise. We would like to normalise support seeking. We would like to normalise talking about gambling. In an ideal world, when people were asked, for example, at their GPs about their drug use, their alcohol use, their weight, their smoking, gambling would also be within that. We obviously aspire to deliver the best support that we can, and we use an evidence-based model of care. We want to increase the visibility and accessibility of our support and services to all communities. We also aspiring to relay a gambling related harms champion within all organisations around the Bradford area, around Yorkshire and Humber. And the purpose of this is to have an individual within an organisation who has knowledge of gambling harms, of how to deliver brief interventions, and how to signpost or refer people on to appropriate support. And for me and for our organisation, that is invaluable in the respect that we can't be all places at all times. But if there is an individual that has that knowledge, it wouldn't take much of anyone's time. It's just some sort of free training and, and then support from us. So if anybody is interested, please, I'll put my email in the chat afterwards, and very much appreciate it if you get in touch. So the other thing that was really important to note was that there are many ways of self-excluding from gambling. and they're all sort of free ways. So GamStop is an online block which you exclude yourself and your details. Purely by signing up with them. You can choose the signing period, six months, a year, 5 years. You can renew that as and when you choose. That we often recommend alongside Gamban, and that blocks is a blocking software which blocks puts the block on devices, so it can be put on up to 15 devices. You can register for it. You can, if anyone that contacts us, we're able to give them a free link for that. So that can really help to protect. The other thing is that most UK banks will put in place transaction blocks, gambling transaction blocks, and that again can be invaluable as a protection. In regards to land-based venues, there are a variety of organisations. You can exclude from betting shops by contacting Moses, casinos by contacting Sense, Vices, the Bingo Association from sort of bingo halls, and also BACTA provide exclusion from arcades. So again, really, really helpful. Sort of doesn't take a lot of time to do, but ultimately it can really help to protect somebody. So I just wanted to end this sort of whistle-stop tour with a sort of a single screening question, really. So it's something we could ask ourselves or someone close to us. It could be that it's a work colleague. It could be that in our role we do. It might be something we ask somebody as part of a screening. And it is sort of enabling people to recognise that gambling and gambling related harms can happen to any of us. Nobody starts off gambling problematically, but ultimately it can progress in that way. So it's sort of saying that that's okay, and there's support out there, there's information, there's self-exclusions, there's blocks. There is also sort of significant aftercare resources. So we see ourselves and the blocks as part of somebody's recovery journey, and we see that recovery journey as potentially maintaining for a long period of time, where other organisations such as Gamblers Anonymous or Epic Restart are involved. So there are some really excellent sort of peer support organisations out there. So that, as I say, a whirlwind tour, but I'll put my email in the chat, and if anyone's got any questions at all, or is interested in signing up as a gambling related harms champion for their organisation, I would absolutely love to hear from you. And I very much appreciate your time.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. I'm just going to share the last presentation, which I will make very, very fast, but I'll be sending this out in the details. So, slideshow, time beginning. And there we go. Okay, so what is a loan shark? A loan shark is anybody who is not regulated to lend money. That can be often somebody on our estates or online. There are many, many loan sharks around because it is so profitable. The story I often give is, if you imagine somebody meeting somebody at the school gates, they've heard the loan sharks heard that the washing machine's broken down. They'll offer them £200 to get their washing machine sorted. The person asks, well, how do I pay you back? And I would say, well, it's more important you get yourself sorted out. I wait a week, the washing's hanging out on the line. I pop down to the door. I ask them for £100 by the end of the week, to which they say they can't afford that. And I say, well, I know where your kids go to school. I know where your parents live. You don't want me to bring back the people around to sort your people out, your loved ones out. And it's very real. That intimidation is very real. And very much in line with the gambling that we've been talking about. This goes hand in hand with that. And just 2 months ago, we helped through our intelligence at the credit union to bring a loan shark to justice that was operating out of the Bradford town centre. Over 1.8 million people are using loan sharks in England, and those are the ones that we know about. It's reckoned that with much higher otherwise. The impacts of family and relationship, very much in the same way as gambling, very much in the same way of being affected. And 85% of all UK adults have at least one credit or loan product. And the access to credit is a large part of society. Credit score impacts far more people to ability to get a loan. And as I've explained, as cost of living crisis has gone up and mortgages have gone up, people are starting to miss payments of people that would never have considered loan shark before are now using them. Why do people use a loan shark? Because they're recommended by somebody they trust. They didn't realize the lender was a loan shark. Desperation as refused credit elsewhere. Preyed upon by a loan shark, or assume that they won't get credit anywhere else. The difference between ourselves and a credit union is that we are regulated, our interest rates are capped. Credit union works with members to help ensure payments are affordable, and we have the projects that we talked about earlier. They have a 24-hour helpline. People can call up anonymously and give a postcode of where a loan shark is operating out of, and they can trace it through that. That's as little information as they need to get started for that. And they do training alongside that with that. And Trish Cassidy is our main contact. So I'm going to expand that. And there we go for there. So that is a whistle-stop tour of everything that we've had today. Thank you for all of my speakers there. I wonder if there was a show of hands. If you put raise hand, if you've appreciated and learned something new today. If you put raise hand on there, I'm seeing it light up all over the place. Okay, brilliant. Well, that's great feedback. That's virtually everybody on there. So wonderful. If you can pop your hands down. Is there anybody that would like to unmute themselves, put on camera and ask a question?